Welcome to Mystics and Mischief.
All things spooky and current.
I'm your host, Barbara.
And I'm your host, Gloria.
Don't forget to like, comment, and follow.
So you can join in the mischief too.
I don't know if it'll show on the screen, but you know how I said I'm not really in sync with the tarot so much, but I am with the oracle.
Mm-hmm.
I can resonate with the pendulum and scrying. It's kind of not like a Ouija board, but it kind of is. Let me see if I can send you the picture of the. It's like a cloth too. It's not even a board, but it's a little bit different. Send that.
I don't think I've ever used a pendulum. I like them. I think they're really cool and I think they're pretty. I
And
want one just to have.
I really resonate
But I
because
haven't used
I
one.
made sure it was still, there was no wind, the fan wasn't on, just to make sure that I'm not doing anything. And it would change direction it just would. So I definitely resonate with it. I sent you a picture. Let me see.
I gotta try it.
And I'm going to see if I can show it.
I saw it. Yeah, I got it.
I don't know if there's a lot of
If
light.
not, you should be able to edit it in so they can see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically a cloth and it says like yes, no, maybe, rephrase.
Try again. Will not answer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was great. And the runes, I feel like I really want to learn about the runes. So I think I'm going to have to really put in some work on that, but we'll see.
Are those the ones that you use the most? Is the oracle and then the runes and the
runes
cloth and
I've never really used because every time I try and get into it, I just get confused. Was trying to learn about it, kind of like the tarot. So I really need to find the right book to kind of like, if you found the simpler understanding of the tarots that had it on there. I need to find something like that with the runes.
I made my own for the because I have like a journal that I use anytime I'm doing anything spiritual. And it just helps me keep track of like everything that I'm trying to like manifest into my life. If I'm doing candle work, what I'm asking for, just things like that. And in there, I made myself like this little cheat sheet and I drew the runes. I drew what each one meant. And then like whatever they're like associated with. So when I needed to use them in my candle magic, then I would have something to look back at because I always fucking forget. The only one I ever remember is protection. And I think that's because I use that one the most and it looks like little chicken feet. So that helps me remember, right? But like everything else, I always need to go back and reference it. And since I have it in my little spiritual like journal, it just makes it feel more magical to me,
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely just keep a journal and put it in there. But I would love if you find one, let me know because I would love to have an actual like drawn out sheet of maybe ones that I don't know of because I think I only have like 15 runes that I specifically use. And I usually only use them when I do candle magic and when I'm doing my manifestations like with like candle work because I'll inscribe them into the candle itself.
Nice.
And then like I have my protection candles and I'll inscribe them and I'll use oils and I'll like massage it in and do all this stuff to it or whatever. But yeah, I do use them too. But I wish I did know more. So if you find a good book, definitely let me know so that I can make sure I'm doing it right.
I have to find the Key of Solomon grimoire because I used to actually be able to read the actual language, the ancient runes writing. So I learned the alphabet a long time ago and I can actually read it, which was so cool because some movies, use it for the look. And I think it was in Lord of the Rings, either the first one or second one, when they went through the door and it said something like it was in Elvish, but they used runes. And then I think when I was working at GameStop, there was a game that used it and I was able to actually read it and they did actually write something. It was just simple, but I used to be able to do that and I forgot it. It's been a while. So yeah, I'm going to look for something. I'll let you know if I can find something that's makes it
Yeah,
simpler.
that sounds like something I'd be interested in reading.
But
What other things do you use?
what other things do I use?
Mhm.
Haven't really used anything because I'm just now getting back into it. Like now that is with things like the ghost hunting that's out there, now there are devices like the spirit talkers and stuff. Those are
I want one of those
original.
so bad.
Those ideas come from Tesla, not the car fucker. Nikola Tesla. You know who he is, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because he made the first one. He made the first one. And um so that's kind of where those ideas come from. And they are getting expensive, but I want to start using those. Or I want to find there's books out there that have Tesla's designs, some of them, but that's including one of them. So I think it would be cool to make my own spirit talker with his designs, but
Wonder how hard it is.
it's not
We'll
so
definitely have to look into
hard.
that because
Yeah.
I'd be interested in seeing that too. I know there are a lot of books that have to do with his inventions and his way of thinking. I don't think I own any of them now that I think about it.
I don't own any of them, but I definitely want to check that out. So I will probably when I get into this more, I want to use my runes, I want to use the oracle. Um definitely my pendulum. And the spirit talker. I want to try and buy one, but definitely want to make one. Think I'll use those to try and connect. And I'm so curious
So
with the spirit talkers because they've worked.
there is this book that I'm currently reading by the neuroscientist that I mentioned before, Tara Swart.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm reading her book Signs right now, and she talks about how you can use signs and basically just like your brain to have these communications with people who have passed. I just started it, so I'm only like in chapter 2, but it's really interesting. So definitely when I'm done reading it, I'll let you know kind of more what it's about. I'll probably do a review on my TikTok page because I really love her. I just finished reading her book, The Source, which is basically about manifestation and how you use your brain and how you trick your brain basically into manifesting things or increasing your likelihood of getting what you want. That
Uh-huh.
one's very interesting if anyone is into manifestation or neuroscience. She lays out like a really good foundation of neuroscience and why these things work. So it's not just like, making shit up. Like she's giving you the actual science behind it. And I thought that was fucking fascinating.
Yeah.
That was a really good book. But
Heck
I
yeah.
think books is one of the things that I use, just because one, I think I'm smart, but like there's obviously other people who are more intelligent than I am, right? So I love to read about what other people believe and what other people think, and I think that's one of the devices I use often are books. Journals are very important to me because one, it helps me remember. And it helps me keep track of what I'm trying to manifest. It helps me keep track of my own thoughts. Um, and I keep my little cheat sheets in there. And it's funny because I have a list of like things that I've manifested or wanting to manifest, and I go back at the end of every year and check things off. And I go, oh look, out of like these 100 things, like I may have gotten like 85, right? It's
Yeah.
usually a pretty
Wow.
high number of what I wanted. I usually get by the end of the year. And so I love using journals to have in my spiritual practice. Another thing, I use candles a lot. And I don't know that the candle magic itself has anything to really do with the candle, right? I think it's more of like the practices you're doing while working with the candle and
Mm-hmm.
like
What you
kind
put
of
into it
putting your mind, yeah, what you're using your mind to put into it.
when
And
you're
so
dressing it.
plus, fire, using the elements and everything makes you
Yeah.
feel more connected to just to everything, your own spirituality, to the earth, to all just what everything that's around. And I love using candles in my workings. And then also it gives it a beginning and an end, right? Like because you light a candle and then you let it go all the way down, and then that's how the working is over.
Yeah.
You use which is why I use tea light candles because I'm not trying to wait that long. But I did the big candles before, and that shit took days.
You're like, I need Cliff Note. I need Cliff Notes magic, motherfucker. Ooh, that would be a good book.
I ain't trying to wait no week just to get this done, and then I'm
Just
worried that the
no
candle's gonna burn
candle
in my
magic.
house. I'm like, fuck. But yeah, definitely I use candles. I use crystals a lot. I know that and Neil deGrasse Tyson, he talks about how like crystals have like a really low vibration to them. So he's like, they don't fucking work, basically. But for me, I think they do. Even if they don't work like energetically, right? They help put your mind in a space where you want it. So like when I want something with self-love or having to do with love in general, I use rose quartz because that's what it signifies. When I need a cleansing, I'll use clear quartz. When I need protection, I use obsidian. And it's just a way of helping your mind be put into those specific slots that you want to manifest, that you want to bring into your life. So they may not have, this huge vibration, but they definitely have something, and it helps us put our minds in that position. And I think that's what's most important. Like especially in the book that Tara Swart wrote about the source is how she explains it, is your brain. Like everything around us goes through our brain, right? Like we have to be able to visualize things. The way our brain works is our thoughts are our life. It is our reality. And so I think it's really important that when we're doing our spiritual practices or our magic, that we really have our mind in a place to be able to be open to things, especially when you're trying to manifest. Let's see, what else do I use?
But this is where I want to argue with Neil deGrasse Tyson. This is where I want to argue with him because this is when he does stuff like that, when I want to tell him for a moment, step back off of that pedestal just a little bit because you don't know everything about it.
I would love to have Tara Swart be on his
Oh,
podcast.
that's great.
Because then she can bring some of the science aspect to it
Because
and I think explain it in a different way.
I think this is where he's jumping to conclusions because there's more to him. I know there's more to them. There is science out there that says there is quite a bit to them scientifically. So I don't know where he's getting his information, or he's letting his very polite but big ego assuming. I think he does assume and jump to conclusions because he's so smart. He thinks none of this. But he's wrong. I know he's wrong about that. So I would you should write her and be like, you really need to get on his show.
Please get on that podcast.
Right?
I think it would be a really fascinating podcast. Like I said, because she explains the science behind a lot of it. And it's not just us being like, I like pretty rocks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's what people look at it. They're like, oh, you believe in stupid crystals? Like, that's dumb.
Like
But for me,
fairies and wellness,
it's
leprechaun.
just not the crystal on its own. It's what it makes you feel, the mindset it puts you in, being more open to whatever that thing is associated with. It's almost just like, like we're talking about vices. It's basically a vice to help your mind associate with it and to be open with bringing in that energy. It's not necessarily the rock itself that's doing it, right? If I hold a freaking obsidian rock, I could still get hit by a fucking car, right? And it's not going to protect me like that.
Yeah.
But if I'm holding an obsidian rock while asking for protection and putting myself in a place mentally to be open to protecting myself and protecting my energy and not allowing negativity to affect me, that's different. And that's what it's meant to do, right? It's not going to physically stop me from being murdered. That's still possible. Right? Yeah, like, motherfucker, I'm gonna throw this rock at you. But that's what I mean. Like, they definitely work. Maybe, I think some people do also look at it like, oh, I have this rock and it's going to protect me. I wear a lot of jewelry that has to do with crystals, right? Like, I have an obsidian necklace, I have a clear quartz and rose quartz. Those are like my 3 favorite, I think, that I use the most. And I do feel more spiritually protected when I wear them. But again, it's because that's what my mind associates with it, right? Like bringing in the energy, focusing the negative energy into that stone so that I'm not holding it in my own body, and that's how it protects me. It helps me have a place to put this energy and visualize it going into this stone so that it's not in my physical body. And I would love to be able to explain that to him. But I get that this, like, again, I get the stone alone is not gonna stop me from getting hit by a car. But it does have its uses, and it's definitely one of the things that I'd like to use a lot. And I do use things like the moon, wind, fire, the elements, right? Uh if I really want something to feel well rounded, like I know that I want to manifest this thing and I do it working, I use all those elements in some way, right? Like the fire from the candle, I use sand from specifically my grandfather's grave, um to keep the earth there. uh I'll keep water. Usually moon water is something that I'll put on my altar, so that way that element is there. And then just my motions around this space is creating air, right? So it's giving me all these elements, and it helps bring it together. And yeah, we do it on, a full moon often. It's not always, but and I know that a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, that doesn't really do anything," or "Why does the moon matter?" Again, it's putting your focus on it. You're giving the universe around you its like proper appreciation. You're including it into what you're asking for, or trying to manifest. And I think that's why those elements are so important. It's not necessarily like I can look at the moon and be like wishing on a star or something and be like, well, I
Mhm.
want $1 million. Obviously, you need to put effort and actually do things to make that happen. Um, but using those elements to feel like you are bigger than just yourself, right? To make you understand that you can be, whatever you want to be or whatever you manifest. And I think that's why using those different vices and those different elements are important in your magic. It's not necessarily like you can just be like, hey, I want this, give me this. No, you still got to work for it. You still got to put the effort into it. But being able to use those elements to open your mind to it is completely different, and it does fucking work because I've used it for years, and it's what helps me all the time, right? That's how I make sure I stay focused, how my mind stays clear. Um, I can't really think of other things that I use right now.
No, you made me realize that I do use the same thing. I use rocks. Jasper is a mineral. I just looked about. I'd have to learn more about that, but crystals, rocks, minerals. I do actually use those. I just when you talked about it, I was like, I do use those. Like I do believe in the chakra. I want to learn more about that because you know what? That is our energy. That is energy, and we know that's a fact.
Mhm.
So, and certain like minerals and crystals stuff can resonate because they have their own reaction to our world and energy and the moon. The moon does. The gravity, it affects our oceans. It affects so much.
Yeah, it does.
So we know that since we know that's true. And it made me realize that when I was still here before I ever moved to South Dakota and I was dealing with a lot of the spiritual shit, um, and I decided when I moved over there, I just don't want to I didn't want to deal with it. I was in a bad place anyway, and I didn't want it. And when I went over there, I did not have one thing supernatural come through. Nothing. And I didn't realize that for like 3 years. And then I was going to the falls. If you ever look up Sioux Falls, you'll see the falls. Um, it's really rocky, like cascade downstairs, falls. And I didn't understand why because I'm like, this shit follows me everywhere. But I was like, I'm not going to say anything because I just don't want to deal with it right now. I want to work on getting my life. And it wasn't until about 3 years when we went to the very top observation little platform above the falls with my friend that lives there and looked at, the plaques and everything, the explanation of the falls and everything. All of that, all the rocks, huge rocks that is this waterfall is jasper. And jasper, I learned, can block negative energy, especially with the chakra.
Yeah, it's a protective stone.
So I was
Mhm.
like, no wonder I haven't had anything. I didn't want it to happen, and I have surrounded by natural jasper everywhere. So I was like, "That's great." And it wasn't until I made the decision, I'm going to try and open myself up to it again and learn, try and get those skills back. things started to happen same day over there. Which I would say is hearing what I think is the other side was, for me, it sounds like the distant radio thing. Like there's a radio in a few rooms over. Same day that I decided I'm going to do that is when I think it was when me and you talked for certain that we, we're going to do this podcast because I was going to release everything. I think it was that night that I could start hearing it again. I was like, shit. So, I'm trying to, and sometimes now I'll try and just put it out there. I'm open to, come through. But yep, I have a jasper stone. I have the crystals. I have some huge crystals that I actually dug out of the ground myself. My other best friend that lives here in California, her parents have a lot of property and they have areas they know where to find the crystals. Where like, I don't know how they can identify it, but they'll be like, right here is where you're going to find some. And we would just dig in and dig them out. And we weren't even that far into the ground. Oh, and one of them has fossilized leaves in it. It's weird, but I have those and I'm going to get those back. And then, I used to be in real touch with the elements. So I got to, cause you're talking about candle magic. I used to be in touch with the elements to the point where I was so in touch with the earth element. I can tell you, I can feel a fucking earthquake from here way far away and be like, no, I did feel it. And then I'd go downstairs, but like, there was an earthquake. Did you feel it? And be like, no. And I'm like, and I'd go on and find out, yes, there was. And it just happened way over here, but I knew it. And I was most in touch with earth. And I don't know if you can consider it wind and fire, but I used to be able to take, you get the incense and you light it and the smoke. I used to be able to, without touching it, control it. And I used to be able to concentrate it. I would practice making it just go perfectly freakishly straight. And then, okay, trying to get it to come down. If I want it to go like this and then stop, I used to be able to do that. And I haven't done that in forever. And then if you take, because this is the lightest form that I can think of other than fucking air, you can't do it with air. If you manage to get the incense stick with some of it still on there, you know how it's kind of very flimsy. If you touch it, it's going to fall, but it kind of sticks on.
Yeah.
To get that with one hand. And I used to practice moving it without touching it. And I used to actually be able to do that. And the only reason I think it worked, it takes forever. The only reason I think it worked is because it's technically a physical form, but it's so light. Why? Because it's pretty much ash. It was the lightest form of something physical that I could think of being able to move with energy. That would be the easiest. And it worked. It did. And I'm realizing now, like some of the things, I'm like, I can't believe I did this and that. Like, I've got to get back to it. I understand I started those in a negative place in my life, but shit, what can I do in a positive? So I'm going to get back into getting in touch with the elements, like what you were talking. And what was the other vice I was thinking of that I was like, oh shit, the rocks, crystals. Now, my vice is YouTube and the other ones that are doing ghost hunting or mediumships or readings. That's my vice because I'm learning a lot, especially with the ghost hunting when they're like, with the spirit boxes. It's weird. I think I told you this on another podcast, but when they're using the spirit talker or the recorder and then they play it back and they don't hear anything. They're like, I don't hear anything. I can't tell what that is. I hear it. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I do have freakishly well hearing and that runs my family, but I hear it and I'm like dying because I'm like, fucking, I can't get a hold of that fucking YouTuber. They're just going to see me as some other fucking weirdo wacko. But I'm like, I hear things that they're not hearing. And one of them was, what was it? It was, I don't know if it was Sam and Colby or TFIL with Matt Rife. I don't know if you know the comedian Matt Rife. Do you know him?
Yeah, I don't like him, but but I
What?
know he is
He is amazingly hot and fucking hilarious. How do you not like him?
because his jokes are dumb.
What? His jokes aren't
They're
jokes. He's
fucking
being fucking
dumb.
real.
He had a whole set just about domestic violence, like it was funny. We used to be domestic violence advocates.
Okay, you need to
We
watch
both
more.
went.
You need to watch more. He does ghost hunting, and him and his friend actually they just bought Ed and Lorraine
Yeah,
Warren's
Annabelle.
house.
Yeah, I know. I
And
wasn't happy about that.
when they went in there and they did a haunting, not a haunting, when they went in there and did an investigation, the same thing. They heard a voice, but they couldn't make it out, right? That they were playing back. You can hear something, but I can't quite make it out. I could fucking clearly hear it. And it was Lorraine. And she was basically there being like, because they're all open, right? They're not taking some of that haunted shit products seriously, like Annabelle, right? And she was basically like, you need to put it away, or you need to get out, or you need to stop. Something simple like that.
That's
But
why I don't
I
like
could
him. He
hear
doesn't
her.
seem like somebody who takes shit fucking seriously.
I could hear
Yeah,
her.
and even if some of those things aren't like, as powerful
Yeah.
as Annabelle, it's still fucking disrespectful.
Yeah.
I just think he's a disrespectful piece of shit. I don't like him. I'll probably never like him.
You gotta watch more because I will let things go. You're watching the wrong videos.
Nah.
Anyway, but I can hear him. And then another time, the other guy did a recording, they couldn't make it out, and it was Ed. So they're basically in that place, and I think feeling the way you do about it. And they were kind of there, basically, their voices almost sound worried, like, you need to stop this. So I think they were there, and that's who they were hearing, because they sound exactly like them to me. And I can hear them clearly. And it was like they're trying to get through to them. So, but
They'll
I'm
figure it out
learning
when some
through
crazy
these,
shit happens to them.
yeah. So I'm learning though through these YouTubers and their experiences and investigations. I'm learning about it too. Like hearing, if I ever do that, I'm learning we've got to do right by them if you're going to be dealing with spirits, because they're doing it for a show.
Yeah.
That these things are coming through, especially when they go speaking with old spirits that died horribly. And I'm like, sometimes they're stuck. And I'm like, and they'll might get us something that comes through like help or a scream. And I'm like, or I can tell they've gotten multiple spirits where lots of people have died, usually in those places that, what is it, that went through and killed a lot of people. And, I can't remember what it was. Started with a T.
Tuberculosis?
Yes. And they've gotten spirits coming through that were screaming, like, get out of here. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I feel like I understand why they're saying that. You all
Well,
are
yeah, 'cause
coming
it's
through.
disrespectful.
Right. They're all coming through, and you're treating them like they're not there. They're there. Imagine they're physically there. They just don't have their body. And the way they're going about it, they're being disrespectful. And they're not helping them. I want to be disrespectful and talk to them like they are there, because they are. And 2, if they need help, you need to try and fucking help them cross over, period. Don't just walk off. This was great. Well, motherfucker, they just figured out that they can talk to you through this fucking box. And you ain't going to do shit to help them. That's wrong. So I am
See,
learning.
that's why I liked Ghost Adventures, and I think what's his name, Aaron? Not the main guy, but the guy that he's been there the entire time. He
I
usually
can't
has like
remember.
almost baldish
Camera
hair.
guy?
Is it a camera guy? I don't know.
I
I haven't
don't
watched
know.
it in a long time, but I always liked that show because that specific guy, pretty much all of them, but specifically him, was always very respectful. Like the way that they did their ghost hunting was very respectful, and I can't respect people who don't, or who do things specifically to be disrespectful, or doing it just for like TV and shit, or just for like shits and giggles. Because, like, those are somebody's loved ones. That is somebody who has been here physically before. And I get a lot of people either think that it's scary or that they don't care because they're not physically here anymore. But for me, anytime you're doing with anything spiritual, even if it's not your particular beliefs, like you have to be respectful. I don't know. I can't stand when people are like that. Pisses me off. Like genuinely puts me in a bad mood. I'm just like, you piece of shit.
Like,
But
yeah.
I get what you're saying though. I do like watching certain shows. But when I watch TikTok, not TikTok, YouTube specifically for like ghost related things, I liked watching more people who like study or read a lot of books related to like witchcraft or brujeria, however you want to word it. There's this one girl I really like, and I've watched her for years. She's the Hearth Witch, and I believe she's from like England or something like that. But she goes over a lot of people's beliefs, and even if it's not something she specifically believes, she's very respectful about it, and she talks about it in like a very teaching kind of way, and I really like that.
Yeah.
And she also will give you book recommendations. She'll tell you like what level of like, experience you need to have per book. So she's not going to tell you a book that you're not going to understand because, you have to read these other books to be able to get what that book is saying or whatever. So she's really good at educating people. And she'll also talk about if she thinks that something is being done disrespectfully or in a way that's not safe. I love watching those kinds of videos. Anything that I can actually learn from, uh, I will gobble that shit up. I fucking love it.
Well, and
But
have
yeah,
you
anytime
seen
someone's
them?
disrespectful, it turns me off.
Yeah. Have you seen I like Sam and Colby. They used at one point it looked like they were trying to help certain things, and I think they try to sometimes, but not all the time. But they're becoming the top investigators in the YouTube investigator world. I like them. Sam is being very careless. Colby is a natural empath, probably a little bit more, and was raised Catholic. So he is careful, but there was one investigation they did with another YouTuber I like, Selena Spooky Boo. I like her. And where they did get in contact, and their vice that they used was the flashlight. And I'm going to try that. That's another vice I want to try is the flashlight.
Like they turn it on and off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they did this one investigate. They were using that, and they were getting answers like this. And it was a female that was stuck there, and she asked for help. They were like, they asked, "What do you want help?" Yes, to cross over. Yes, on and off. So as a group, they said the Our Father prayer, and when they were done, was the last part, in thy kingdom forever and ever, whatever. When they did that, was it? They had like 3 flashlights in there. They each turned on and got super bright. I was like, this one, that one, and that one. They all turned on, got super bright. It was beautiful. And they could feel it. They didn't normally do this, and they can feel it. And then they also had the music box. That was silent. But when the flashlights got bright and then they just kind of went, and they were like, oh my God. And it was like they went over. And then as soon as they did that, the music box went dun dun with that kind of tone. Dun dun. And they could feel it. The ones that were kind of empaths be able to pick up on it, they felt it. They were like, thank you. She said thank you. Like, thank you. And they could feel it. And it was beautiful. I loved it. And I was hoping they would continuously do that and try and help spirits. But I think they fell off of that. So that I don't like that. But I want to try and use the flashlights as a vice, the spirit box. I think the flashlight would be easiest because it does make sense. They can go in there and use their energy to easily affect that. So I'm gonna try that. I also want to, I think I'm gonna try a little bit of mirror magic.
Love using the mirror.
I
And
heard
okay,
a scary
and I don't
story.
mean just like I know a lot of people are very afraid of the mirror, and there's a lot of beliefs around like centered around the mirror. But not just spiritually, I think individually as just people. we need to literally look in the mirror more often. And I think it's because a lot of us have inflated ideals of who we are as individuals. Our egos are incredibly fucking high. And we need to really look in the mirror and see who the fuck we are. And I remember I used to hate mirrors. I wouldn't look at them. Like, I would look down. I didn't want to see myself. I was very self-conscious. I was in a really horrible relationship at the time. Like, my life was just shitty, right? Like, looking in, you would think my life was great because I had everything like that people would physically want. But my life itself was horrible, and I never wanted to look in a mirror. And I think over the past couple, maybe 3 years or so, I've started really looking into the mirror. And it's not only helped my confidence, it's helped me be realistic about what I look like, who I am, my ideals and my beliefs. Because I have to physically look at myself and be like, okay, you believe this, but why? Right? And not only that, but if you are insecure, it gives you this like understanding of who you are, and it makes you, if you're still unhappy, want to change it. Like, I have 3 mirrors in my bedroom, right? They're like in all angles. So no matter where I'm looking, there's always a mirror. And I know a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, you should never have a mirror looking at you." And I
Or
respect all
crossing
those
each other because it's a
beliefs.
portal.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have. I don't have them looking at each other. They're all in different angles, so they're not directly at each other. I do believe the portal thing just a little bit, so
Well, let's talk
I
about
don't want
that
to do that. I did
later.
have it like that I had it for a little bit, and I actually really liked it, but I kept getting the feeling that I needed to take one down, and so I did before anything crazy happened. So I took it down. I went with my intuition. But I do have all these mirrors in different locations, and on one of the mirrors, it literally has written on it. I wrote on it, "If you don't like what you see in the mirror, then change it." And that forces me to always be like, okay, well, I don't like this. All right, how can I improve myself? How can I be better? How can I look in myself in the mirror and make sure that I'm not only happy with what I see, but happy with what I'm putting out into the world? I think there's so much hate in this world because people just are not loved enough, that sometimes if we just fucking look at ourselves, we can at least learn to love ourselves. And if we love ourselves more, we can put love out there. We have a different vibration that we put out into the world. And so not just with like spiritual magic and manifestation, but just in general, for fuck's sakes, people look in the goddamn mirror. Look in the mirror and figure out who you are and who you want to be as an individual, right? Like, what is it that you want to improve on yourself? Oh, this? Okay, well, fucking fix it. Because if you don't fix it, then you're sitting there still looking at yourself in the mirror being like, man, I'm not fixing this. And it holds us accountable. And so I think we need to lower our egos a lot as a society and really look at the mirror and see who we actually are in real fucking life. Because sometimes I think people who shouldn't have such a big head have such a big head, and they need to like take it down because they're not as good as they think they are.
Yeah.
And that's a problem across this whole fucking world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love mirrors in general. I think they're great.
And it's funny that you say that we need to really figure out who we are, because I'm currently trying to, with all of this, especially me coming over here, I'm trying to find my authentic self to get back. Because even like I said before, when I had suicidal tendencies, I decided that would suck if I got over there and realized, shit, I wasn't even who I was really. I didn't bring that out. That sucks. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to pull my authentic self out. And it's funny because, especially with the mirrors, I'm like, not just with the way I look, but before, if I looked in the mirror and I didn't like what I was seeing, or especially because I don't like to wear makeup, I don't. And I would be like, I need to go to town, but I didn't do my eyebrows, and my mustache is coming in, and what if I run into somebody? And if I did, I felt like shit about myself. Now I'm like, I might have a mustache just because I'm fucking Mexican. You're going to see it. And I am growing it out so I can properly wax it. But I'm getting to the point where I'm like, oh, I look like this. And I have some hairs coming in and my eyebrows are starting to get bushy, but I like how I look. and it's not going to matter who I run into. So I'm getting to that. But for mirror magic, these ideas, this idea came in and I want to try it. So it's probably going to open something. But for some reason, I had this vision of getting these mirrors upright, kind of tall, maybe about this wide each, in a circle so that they're reflecting off of each other. Like maybe 5 of them, I don't know. So they're closed in. And I need light from something to come in. I feel like I can create almost like what you would think of looking into like a crystal ball or scrying, but I feel like there's something putting them together. Maybe it's what we hear about, putting mirrors across from each other is going to open a portal. I don't know. Maybe this portal, maybe there's something else to it. A better way for me to connect or feel something. Maybe for scrying or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I feel like I need to play around a bit. So try with mirrors.
I would suggest, and this you can do whatever you want, but for me, I would suggest starting off with one singular mirror and then maybe adding to it so that you're not just doing it like a whole bunch of mirrors all at the same time, right? And then not knowing whatever it is that you're inviting or opening.
Well, I'm gonna
Because I
do
do
it.
think
I'm
that
just
there is something
jumping
to
in,
do.
Gloria. I'm jumping in. If I'm coming out with all of this shit, I'm going to jump in and I will deal with I'm not going to let anything come out of it. That's what I have to learn too, is we talked about, we have the ability to be like, no. And for some reason, I'm fucking getting mirrors. It's going to be like a fucking
Because I
carnival
have,
walkthrough.
and I've talked about this on here before. I have looked in the mirror and seen, like I've seen myself at like year 100, right? Like I've seen myself older. I've seen a different person looking back at me in front of a mirror. But I also do a lot of my meditation in front of a mirror. I believe in the chakras also. I think, and this isn't just my thoughts, this is like an actual scientific thing. We hold a lot of, especially when people have traumas and stuff, we hold a lot of that in our hips and in our spine, right? Even if our mind doesn't remember, our body does. And so a lot of my spirituality is just like we have done since the beginning of man. I dance, and I will dance in front of the mirror, and it's specifically to get that tension out of my hips. I mean, better if I was in a relationship and I could be fucking, but hey, you know what? Dancing works. Okay, it works.
There's other
Fucking in
things you
front of
can
the mirror
do
would
in the
also be
mirror.
legit, okay? But still.
There's things you can do in the mirror.
But
You don't need a man. Self-love
man is
magic.
preferred.
Self-love
No,
magic.
but seriously, like I use the mirror a lot, and for me, it does hold something spiritual. I don't know that it's necessarily a portal, but it does help your energy when you're trying to do these, manifestations and workings. Because not only is it empowering to look at yourself when you're doing it, you can envision yourself doing it so much better because you're physically looking at yourself, right? So mirror work is amazing. I recommend it to everybody. Now, I'm not telling everybody to do this portal thing with all the mirrors like you want to do. That's on you. You do that. But in general, get one mirror, a nice size mirror, preferably a full body mirror, right? And fucking look at yourself, meditate in front of it, work out in front of it. And at first, I'm going to tell you, especially if you have very low self-confidence, it's going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to hate what you see. You're going to it's going to suck in the beginning. Okay. I will literally fucking dance in front of my mirror naked now. I'm like, oh my God, look at me. I have so much more confidence than when I used to. Because when I first did it, I remember being like, oh my God, I have fat here, or I wish this wasn't there. And I would be so like, almost disgusted with myself, right? Because I wasn't seeing what I wanted to see. And the more I looked in the mirror, I'd be like, you know what? If that body was on somebody else, I'd be like, hey. And you start looking at it different. You start looking at yourself different. And you finally, after a while, sometimes I think it took me a couple of weeks of doing this consecutively. And after a few weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, I was like, I'm beautiful, like it took me a while, but I was like, you know what? I'm pretty and I like what I see and I'm excited with who I am. And I remember being so like, unsure if I wanted to like go out there and be in a relationship or something. Cause I was like, oh my God, then I'm going to be intimate with somebody. And what if they don't like what they see? And now I'm just like, I know how I can dance in front of that mirror. They better like what they see. And if they don't deserve it. So like, it totally changed my mind and my perspective of myself. And so 100% light some candles, dance in front of a fucking mirror, enjoy yourself, look at yourself, realize how beautiful we are as individuals, and fucking appreciate who we are. You know what I mean? Like, this body is going to hold us until we fucking die. Appreciate it. Take care of it. Fucking nourish it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We need to all stop looking at ourselves and being like, oh, I wish I looked like this person. No, you're fucking beautiful just how you are. And if you don't think you are, then fucking change it.
Yeah.
Work out, drink some
That's
more
what I
water,
plan on
fucking eat
doing.
healthy.
Even with my hair.
Yeah,
That's
you
what
know
I
what I mean?
plan on doing.
I 100% recommend it to anybody. Anyone who needs an uplifting, like, thought process of themselves, anyone who wants to encourage themselves or be happy with their body, do mirror work. Just fucking stand in front of a mirror.
I'm not
Talk
even.
to yourself.
Here's what I feel like doing though. I feel like messing with actual mirror magic, maybe at the portal. So I keep thinking of, for some reason, something to do with encircling the mirrors so they're reflecting off each other, involving crystals and something under moonlight with maybe water or burning sage or something underneath with the smoke to go up into the water. Some kind of way of, I feel like there is, to combine these things for better scrying, almost like what the crystal ball used to represent, right? And they used to use that. I feel like there's a more natural way with it. And the mirrors, even though they're not natural, you have to make them, but they reflect, what they can reflect is amazing. And, and infusing these things. For some reason, I feel like doing that. So
I feel like
I don't know
that's
why,
why
but
a
I'm gonna
lot of
try it.
people throughout history have done magic outside. Because think about, like, when you watch all these movies and things, there's always like a group of women and they're like under the moonlight. Usually it's somewhere near water. Now, imagine doing your thought process literally in the river, right? That's not too deep where you can stand in it. Doing that in the middle of the river with the full moon on top of you, I bet it would feel so amazingly beautiful and spiritual and connected. I would totally fucking do that. I think that would be so fucking amazing. Like, just visualizing it, it feels great to me. So
Oh,
actually doing it, I bet you it's.
I agree.
You ever want to come to New Mexico? I live next to the river. Girl, we will go out there in the full moon. We will do whatever you want.
What was that?
Talking about being physical, there is sex magic. And I think that's why there is a lot of like cults that have a lot of like sexual situations. It's because that energy, that power can be harnessed. And I think that's one of the main reasons why I'm so careful on who I end up sleeping with, is because it is such an energetic bond.
Yeah.
And if you can think of what you want and visualize what you want at the moment of climax, that is one hell of a way to manifest something.
Yeah.
So I need to find me a husband because I would love to fucking have the full moon next to the river. That sounds
Yes,
great.
baby, we're gonna manifest.
But I can't do it with just anybody. So yeah, no, definitely. And I think that's why in my relationships, why sex is so important, because you're not only like making your brain fall in love with this person more, right? Because that's how it works for women. The more sex you have with somebody, the more connected you feel. And men is a little different. But you being able to harness that is such a beautiful fucking thing. So, anyone want to marry me? That'd be great. I got a high list of expectations though, so trying not to have expectations, but that's not working very well for me.
I think with the ones that we're going to get into, different vices, we're definitely going to have another video on this. Maybe after we've done some of those new vices. Like when I get back,
Yeah.
I'm going to do more with the pendulum, and I'm probably going to see if I can build a spirit.
I'm going to get a pendulum. Because
Yeah.
it's an easy thing to use, and I've never used it before, and I've always wanted one. One thing I haven't mentioned is dice. I do use dice. It'll say like yes, no. You just like roll it. I've used that. I've used dice with letters on it. And so you throw that and you get like initials to situations or people that you're asking about.
I haven't
And I've
heard of the
used
dice
dice with
before.
numbers. Oh
So
yeah, I have
look
a whole
into
bag
that.
at home. Yeah, and it's basically you use the same way as like a pendulum, but you're throwing the dice. The only thing I will say is with that one, it's not fully accurate. Now, if I want something super accurate, I stick with my tarot. Because that has not steered me wrong yet. But the dice will sometimes just tell me what like random ass shit, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm trying to like decode shit. I'm like, I don't got time for this. Yeah. But I throw it out there.
Yeah, we definitely have to give us some time to use these. Right, maybe after the new year in January, we can do another video to follow up on new vices that we've used, new things. That would be
Yeah.
interesting. That's going to
Give
be a
us a
good
little time
one,
to try
I
new
think.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because
Now, if you do
holidays and
anything with the
finance can be
mirror,
hard
I want to
anyway.
know.
Yeah, I'm gonna figure something out because I'm being pulled to do something
I
with
think
that,
mirror
so I
magic
gotta
is
figure
so
it out.
empowering. It's so amazing. I love it.
All right, Chica, this was great. I loved this podcast. It made me realize that,
That was
some
a
of the
good
things you
topic.
use and some things I use, like the rocks and the crystals. And I think I have mine here. I've got to find them so I can take them back. But yeah, did you ever look into the Kia Solomon?
No, I haven't. Not
You
yet.
should find that book. Well, I don't know why I'm saying that. I don't want you to mess with that book.
I would
Mess with
still
that
read
book.
it.
But it does
I have a
have, I
book
think
that
that
I
has
started
languages.
reading and I always get distracted and I can't finish, and it's Angel Magic. And it has the name of the angels, it has the spells and what they're for. And every time I try to read it, something happens and I never get to read it. And I'm like, is the universe telling me not to? 'Cause I'm gonna do it
Maybe.
anyways. But I would like to know if I'm
Maybe
being
that was
warned.
written wrong. I don't know.
I don't
Be
know, but I'm still
careful.
gonna read it. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
we'll
still
see.
gonna do the mirrors. Portals, here we come.
Yeah,
Portal theme
we're
park,
so weird.
baby.
We're like, everybody be careful, make sure you do things right, and then we're like, yeah, we're gonna do it anyways.
Don't do what we do, okay? Do not do this at home.
Yeah, do what we say, not
And
as we
then,
do.
if things go well with the vices, when we do that other video, we can talk about them, and then maybe do some on a episode, just to show people.
Yeah, and I can even, because since I have my journal, I can go back and look at it and I can tell you which things I have manifested before and exactly what I did, because I will write down what I use, because I do use like herbs and flowers and incense and all this stuff for specific things. And so I can break down to you the exact spell I used when I manifested something, because I have it all written down. So we could
Yeah, that'd
I
be
can
cool.
bring my notes the next time we do this.
Yeah.
Let people know a few things that they can try.
All right.
This was
Well,
fun.
that's going to conclude. Yeah. This is a great episode. I hope everybody liked it. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. We hope you liked this episode.
You can follow us on YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, and Instagram.
And iHeart, Audible, and Facebook.
Join us next time for more mischief. Okay, cool.
Yes.